Hey guys, EBPMAN here, and today we're going to take a look at what I believe is the best keyboard for the iPad Pro 12.9. It's the Logitech Slim Folio Pro. You're going to want to watch this video. Now, I've been waiting for this keyboard to come out for quite some time. There are very few good options when it comes to keyboard solutions for the iPad Pro series. Now, we've reviewed some options that are available on Amazon, and they work really well. And we've also looked at the iPad Pro keyboard. But this one from Logitech is the best. And in this video, I'm going to show you why. Let's get right to it.
Make sure you hit the subscribe button and tap the little bell icon to get notified when new videos become available.
Now, before doing the unboxing and seeing how the keyboard performs, let's check out the specs here. So first of all, this keyboard does use Bluetooth. So it does not use the proprietary connection that the iPad brings for some reasons. I'm sure it has to do with licensing and that kind of stuff. But the Bluetooth keyboard is a good keyboard option, and I'll show you why in a couple seconds. The second thing, and this to me is really important, is that the keyboards themselves, the keys, are backlit. So if you like typing in the dark, let's say in my case, I am on a plane often and the lights are dim, and having the lit keyboard just makes things a lot easier, especially when it comes to some certain key commands that I'm looking for. So having a backlit keyboard is a great option. The other thing here is that it has iOS shortcuts, which is important, but then this is where I think it makes up for things. So even though it uses Bluetooth and has the lit keys, you have 3 months battery life. So that is fantastic. So you'll be able to charge this and go for 3 months under normal usage without having to worry about charging the keyboard again. Now, the other thing that you do have is placement for the Apple Pencil. And you're going to see where they've placed it and how they secure it in place. But it doesn't really add any thickness or depth to the case itself. So let's take a look at the case now. Now, taking a closer look at the case, what you'll find is that the case itself is made out of a kind of like a rubberized material, but it is soft to the touch. And it's also matte, so no fingerprints, right? And it looks very similar to the previous one. As I flip this over, you'll notice that it does have this latching mechanism. And we'll flip this over so you can see it right here. So this is how you close it and secure it. Now, taking a look at it initially, you're going to see that this does add some thickness to your iPad. But in my opinion, that's a good thing, and I'll explain why in a second. Now on this side you have all your cutouts for your camera, and you can see that you have some really nice depth there that's going to protect the lens. And as we open it up, you'll notice that you have, again, this area where you're going to be able to store the iPad, and here's your keyboard. And when you look at this keyboard, this is like a full-size keyboard. It has great travel, great clickiness as you type. Now, as we take a look at this side here, you'll notice that you have great bumper protection going all the way around. And this is why I said that this gives your iPad the protection that the Apple keyboard case does not, because it has this great protection going all the way around. Now the back has some material here that protects the back of the iPad, but then as we look at it here in this area, you'll notice that these bumpers are pretty significant. So you have good bumpers all the way around, and then the viewing angles though are a little bit limited, so you only have one locking mechanism or locking position, which is right here. So you don't have the multiple, but this still works for me, and I found that when I have this on my lap, I haven't had any problems typing on it like if it was a laptop, and also it hasn't fallen over. So let's go ahead and put in our iPad Pro in the case and see how it looks. Now, taking a closer look at the iPad in the case, one of the things I wanted to highlight is that this iPad Pro does have a tempered glass screen protector. And I'll say so far that this case is tempered glass screen protector friendly because it's not impairing it in any way. But you can see how the bumpers are working there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the case, secure it, so you can see how much thicker the case becomes, or the iPad. Now the other thing is that for me, I think that this case also helps that maybe if you're worried about the iPad bending, because we've seen a lot of that stuff happening, this is going to give you some extra protection in my opinion. So as we take a look at it here, you'll notice that you have great bumper protection here, right? We flip it this way, great bumper protection. You can see how much higher this is above the iPad, so it's going to keep it if you were to drop it. You have bumper protection on this side as well. And then, you know, just on the back, if we take a look at the camera, even though the camera pops out, right, we'll put it here in an angle, you'll notice that it's more flush with this case, but because this thing comes up here, if you lay it down, you're not going to get this to touch any kind of surface. All right, so now let's go ahead and open up the keyboard. And you'll notice that it did support auto wake as well, so it turned on my iPad, which is nice. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it into the typing position, and as soon as I put it in the typing position, it is going to automatically turn on the keyboard, which is a nice feature, and the keyboard is also lit automatically. Now before putting the keyboard through its paces, let's take a closer look at it. So first of all, what you'll notice is that you have media controls. So you have your volume up, and we'll press that. Volume down controls. You have keyboard brightness. I can make the keyboard brighter, or I can make it dimmer. You have your home button. So pretty much all your controls, your finder button there, are here, as well as it looks very Mac-like because it has the control option and command functions here. Now, love the way this looks. Looks really good. And you know, if you press the keyboard button, it's going to bring up this keyboard as well. Now, what you're looking at here is one of my scripts for the B&O 2.0s that we reviewed on the channel. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to type and see how responsive the keyboard is. So check this out. So I'm typing in, this is the Logitech keyboard test. Very responsive. And I don't know if this is going to come up on the audio, but I'm going to tap here a little bit. I don't know if that comes up, but it's very clicky. It's very satisfying. It's very springy. It's very much like you would expect from a keyboard. So you get that feedback as you're typing, and it makes it feel like a real keyboard. Matter of fact, I find that this keyboard makes the iPad feel more like a laptop than any other keyboard that I've tested on a iPad Pro before. So this is definitely, in my opinion, I'm telling you, the best keyboard for the iPad Pro, given the keyboard experience. That coupled with the lighting experience is definitely a must-have. So let's dim. I'm going to turn off my key light so we can see the keyboard a little bit better. All right, so let's go ahead and press the keyboard so you can see this lit. I'm going to make sure that it's, first of all, I'm going to take it down all the way, and then I'm going to bring it back up, and I'll tilt it at an angle so you can see the lighting there. See if that comes up on camera. Really nice lights. Makes it easy to see as you're typing, especially as I'm in front of it looking this way, you can see it lighting up more. From the top down, it's not that apparent. So I'm just looking like this. You really don't see it, but it's the angle in which, when you have it as you're typing, that actually introduces that lighting mechanism so you can see everything really nicely. So definitely a good lighting system on the keyboard. So now for those of you who are curious as to where the Apple Pencil goes, well, there's no extra storage anywhere except right here. So you put it in place, the pencil will start to charge, and then as you take your iPad and stow it just like this, you basically take this flap and you put it in place. That's all there is to it. Now watch this. That pencil's not going anywhere. Not going anywhere. Not going anywhere. So the fact that this has a magnet here and it goes around it really helps keep your Apple Pencil in place. So you have no fear of dropping it or losing it, even if you were to grab it like this. So if I have it here, you know, I'm holding onto it. If I have it on the bottom, like let's say this is where I'm holding it as I'm walking with it, it's not going to fly away. It's not going to fall out. So it does keep your Apple Pencil secure. So that concludes my review of the Logitech Slim Folio Pro keyboard for the iPad Pro 12.9. And once again, guys, I have to say, this is the best keyboard for the iPad Pro. So if you have an 11 or 12.9, search no further. Pick up one of these guys today. Order it online because you're going to want to have it if you want the best keyboard for your iPad Pro. Definitely a must buy.